All right, joining me now is Emily Sturge, a reporter for Campus Reform, and Adam Gillette, president of Accuracy in Media. Welcome to you both. Adam, I'll start with you. How big of a problem is this on university campuses where conservatives are coming under attack?
Well, it's a problem everywhere, increasingly even in red states, but Berkeley is undeniably one of the worst. And it's coincidentally, of course, directly tied to their DEI initiatives. Berkeley is a mecca of DEI. Not coincidentally, Berkeley a couple of years ago banned anyone who supported the existence of the State of Israel from speaking on campus. So the very people who proclaim to love inclusion don't want to include outside ideas. The very people who proclaim to love diversity don't believe in any sort of diversity of thought. It's in fact the first campus where I've had to hire off-duty police officers to go with me because of threats of violence there. Because we know consistently local law enforcement won't do a thing, the prosecutors won't do a thing, so I'm glad to see the feds get involved.
Emily, this may be just a great big coincidence. Who knows? I'll let you decide that. Every time there is a far left speaker on a university campus, doesn't matter, Berkeley, wherever, everything goes off fine. No problems, no riots, no fires, nothing of that nature. And yet it seems like every time a conservative is invited onto a campus, all hell breaks loose. What do you make of that?
It's no coincidence at all. And look, the Department of Justice needs to not only investigate the university administration and their failures, their failed campus safety policies, but the Department of Justice also needs to take a look into the radical leftist groups actually behind this chaos. And at the Leadership Institute's Campus Reform, we've been reporting how radical far-left groups are infiltrating America's college campuses. And one of those groups, the Young Democratic Socialists of America, they were actually promoting these protests days ahead of Monday's event. So UC Berkeley had days of notice and yet still failed to adequately prepare. Monday night, we saw physical harassment used against conservatives, used against attendees. We saw tear gas. We saw fireworks. We even saw glass broken on one attendee's head. The university administration failed to act, so I'm glad to see the Department of Justice stepping in.
Adam, if you watch any of the media coverage from what happened at Berkeley, they said, oh, it's a peaceful protest, mostly peaceful protest. What responsibility does the media bear here?
Well, of course, a significant amount of responsibility, but they obviously can't be taken seriously. Right away, we immediately think of a fiery but peaceful protest, right? But we've got to remember that in a fragmented media landscape, these news outlets are basically telling their audiences what they want to hear. MSNBC viewers don't want to see stories about their side behaving poorly. So, of course, MSNBC will frame it differently. And then, of course, MSNBC will treat it as an incredible federal overreach that the feds got involved. But in fact, it's essential. This situation is going to get much, much worse if the violent perpetrators continue to get away with their actions. Previously, the only people holding violent students accountable at Columbia, at Berkeley, at the University of Washington have been Accuracy in Media and other activist organizations. You know, we buy the domain names of the radicals and set up web pages explaining what they've done. We even do targeted ads to their Facebook contacts. So when they show up for Thanksgiving dinner, their great aunt said, what the heck did you do when a speaker came to your campus last week? But we can't handle all of these people. That's what law enforcement is for. So again, that's why I'm so glad to see the Justice Department get involved.
No, I am too. And Emily, the challenge I see here is that there's not a lot of anger, there's not a lot of righteous indignation coming from Capitol Hill. And I want to use what happened when the Jew haters came out en masse and started attacking Jewish students at these universities, the Ivy League schools. Just about every conservative on Capitol Hill spoke out, condemned it, and actions were taken. There were consequences. Do we need to see that level of reaction when they're targeting conservative kids?
Absolutely. Washington might want to take a second look at which universities are being handed millions of taxpayer dollars. Look, I'm excited to see the Department of Justice step in, but it really underscores just how bad Berkeley's leadership has failed in protecting students, just like all of those campuses we saw that failed to protect students when it came to those anti-Semitic riots after the October 7th attacks on Israel by Hamas. I'm not shocked, particularly that this is happening at UC Berkeley, because that school has a track record of letting chaos erupt. It was 6 years ago when one of our employees at the Leadership Institute was on that campus helping conservative groups recruit new members to their campus chapters. Well, our employee was actually punched in the face on that campus by a protester. Then, of course, during those violent anti-Semitic riots, UC Berkeley allowed for a pro-Hamas encampment to take place on their campus for 22 days before the administration stepped in. So this isn't shocking to anybody. I hope our lawmakers stand up for students, not just for conservative students, but for all students, for the safety of all students, and for the First Amendment rights of all Americans.
All right, Emily, Adam, we have to leave it there. Guys, thank you.